Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Anglistic with Abraham. So in today's video we are going to look at a poem from class 12 CBSE from the book titled Flamingo. The poem is An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum, written by Stephen Spender. First, let us know about the author. Stephen Spender, 1909 to 1995, was an English poet and essayist, was one of the pioneers of poetic movement in the 1930s. Spender took a keen interest in the social and political problems of his times. As a social reformer and pacifist of his time, he questions the value of education and the morals and ethics of individuals. The trials and tribulations of the post-World War Europe finds expression in Spender's verse and prose. Books by Spender include Poem of Dedication, The Edge of Being, The Creative World, and an autobiography by the name World Within World. Then comes the introduction. The poem has concentrated on themes of social injustice and class inequalities. That is, in this poem, Spender depicts the injustice which prevails in society. He talks of social injustice and class inequalities, denial of opportunities to slum dwellers, and also expresses his thoughts on the widening gap between the rich and the poor. He somewhere or the other seems to be hitting hard at the capitalist economy, which helps the rich to get richer and the poor poorer. The civil rights movement in America had gained pace, and Spender's poem supports it when he exposes the condition of the haves and the have-nots. The poem lucidly brings forth the miserable condition of the children of the slum and the inadequate educational facilities provided to them. The poem talks of racial discrimination and is a socialist proclamation that a country can prosper only if education reaches to the downtrodden in the society. So before getting into the poem, let us know about the theme. In an elementary school classroom in a slum, Spender beautifully brings out the themes of social injustice and class inequalities. Poverty is also another theme of the poem. The poet creates an image of children in poverty. It is poverty that has caused the children to be weighed down, diseased, and twisted. The poet believes that poverty is created through the oppressive power of capitalism. So, before analyzing the poem for its poetic devices, like the image and symbol, alliteration, simile, and metaphor, let us first read out the poem and understand it. Stanza 1. Far, far from gusty waves, these children's faces, like rootless weeds, the hat torn round their pallor, the tall girl with her weighed down head, the paper seeming boy with rat's eyes, the stunted, unlucky hair of twisted bones, reciting a father's gnarled disease, his lesson from his desk. At back of the dim class, one unnoted, sweet and young, his eyes live in a dream of squirrel's game in tree room other than this. So before getting into the second stanza, let us see what these lines from stanza 1 mean. So the poem describes a primary school in a slum. Children studying in the slum classroom depict the social injustice and perpetual poverty prevailing among the slum dwellers. In the first stanza, Spender describes the miserable condition of the children. The faces of the children are unlike the usual children of schools. Instead of being exuberant and energetic, they are like rootless weeds, withered and worn out. They are unclean and untidy, as they are malnourished, sick, and hungry. Just as weeds are not wanted in the garden, so are these children of the slum unwanted in the society. They have pale faces, their hair is uncombed. A tall, slim girl has her head bowed down as though she is exhausted physically because of malnutrition and emotionally because of poverty. The other students of the class are also in the same situation. There is a boy who is as thin as paper, again because of malnutrition and lack of civic amenities. He has eyes like that of a rat searching for food and betterment. Another child in the class who is a victim of genetic disorder has gnarled bones and stunted growth. He has inherited his weakening disease from his father and recites his lesson from his desk in a mellow and weak voice. In one corner of this poorly lit and ill-equipped class is a sweet, unnoticed child lost in the world of his dreams. The dull and monotonous classroom does not interest him, and hence his mind deviates towards the squirrel in her tree room. He too dreams of fun and frolic in an open space. Now let us read through stanza 2. On sour dream walls, donations, Shakespeare's head, cloudless at dawn, civilized dome riding all cities, belled, flowery, tireless valley, open-handed map awarding the world its world. And yet for these children, these windows, not this map, their world, were all their futures painted with a fog. A narrow street sealed in with a lead sky, far, far from rivers, caves, and stars of words. So, when we look at the second stanza, the poet describes the dirty classroom. On the walls are displayed the names of people who have given donations. An image of Shakespeare adorns the wall inside the classroom. These walls also have pictures of the beautiful Tyrolese Valley as well as a map of the world. These signify clear sky and civilized cities, whereas the children's eyes can only view a narrow road enclosed with a dull sky. It is quite a dreary and depressing place for children. So, the Tyrolese Valley is pertaining to the Tyrol, an Austrian alpine province. So, let us get into the third stanza, stanza 3. Surely Shakespeare is wicked. The map is a bad example, with ships and sun and love tempting them to steal for lives that slyly turn in their cramped holes. From fog to endless night on their slag heap, these children wear skins peeped through by bones and spectacles of steel with mended glass like bottle bits on stones. All of their time and space are foggy slum, so blot their maps with slums as big as Rome. So, in the third stanza, the pensive poet suddenly turns belligerent, that is, aggressive, and feels that Shakespeare is wicked. This is because he misleads the children. He shows them a beautiful world of ships, sun, and love, which is not only unreal for them, but has a corrupting influence on these children and provokes them to steal and try to escape from their cramped holes. Their existence is indeed very sad. These underfed children are so thin that it appears that they are wearing only skins. The spectacles they are wearing have glass which has been broken and mended. Their entire appearance reeks of their deprivation. The poet shows his outrage by suggesting that the maps on their walls should show huge slums instead of beautiful scenic graphics. Now, getting into the fourth stanza and the last stanza. Unless governor, inspector, visitor, the map becomes their window, and these windows that shut upon their lives like catacombs break open till they break the town and show the children to green fields and make their world run azure on gold sands and let their tongues run naked into books. The white and green leaves open history theirs whose language is the sun. So finally, the poet reveals the appalling truth that there can be no change for the better unless a governor, a school inspector, or an educationalist or a visitor comes to the school. The man in their classroom is the only medium for the children to view the world outside their slums. The windows of their classroom shut them and confine them to their world of poverty and helplessness. Next, poet appeals to those people who are in power to liberate these slum children from the horrendous life that they are leading. He also exhorts the people themselves to break open these windows, which appear to have sealed the fate of these children. He would like to see these children bask in the educational facilities in this world and run carefree on the golden sands and enjoy a new lease of life and freedom. The poet earnestly desires that each and every child should be able to enjoy the fundamental right to freedom. They should have access to all kinds of books, new as well as old. They should also be able to learn from nature around them. Spender ends the poem on a positive note as he expresses his belief that people who are ignited by the spirit of knowledge and learning are the ones who create history. It is the more liability of everyone to break barriers between the haves and the have nots and give a meaningful education to all, for history remembers only those people who are educated and have enlightened themselves for a better world. So, when we analyze the poem upon the poetic devices used, the image and symbol are can be seen are the terms gusty waves, rootless weeds, paper seeming boy, twisted bones, sour cream walls, Shakespeare's head, tireless valley, open-handed map, ships and sun, cramped holes, bottle bits on stones, gold sands. Alliteration used in the poem are as follows. Far, far from gusty waves. Surely Shakespeare bottle bits. Simile, like rootless weeds, like bottle bits on stones, like catacombs. Catacombs refers to a long underground gallery with excavations in its sides for tombs. The name catacombs before the 17th century was applied to the subterranean cemeteries near Rome. Slum as big as doom. Next comes the metaphor. Rat's eyes, father's gnarl disease, squirrel's game, tree room, open-handed map, futures painted with a fog, lead sky, cramped holes, slag heap, where skins beat through by bones, spectacles of steel, where their tongues run naked into books, white and green leaves open. Hope you like this video. Please do like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more content. See you guys in my next video. Thank you.